in joining us today, especially your Lordship, sir. Thank you for joining us. And before we begin, I would just like to repeat a few guidelines which we all try to adhere to throughout the session. So kindly keep your microphone muted throughout the session. And any questions that you have, please post it in the chat box, which will be answered at the end of the session. And we will also be posting a feedback form at the end of the session. So participants who fill this form will receive an e-certificate. Thank you all, and we hope you have a fruitful session today.
Okay. Okay. Good morning, respected dignitaries, academicians, law professionals, students, and other participants. On behalf of the Tamil Nadu Dr. Ambedkar Law University School of Excellence in Law, I welcome you all to the national webinar on the event of International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. By the resolution 42 by 112 of 7th December 1987, the UN General Assembly decided to observe 26th June as the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking as an expression of its determination to strengthen action and cooperation to achieve the goal of an international society free of drug abuse. Supported each year by individuals, communities, and various organizations all over the world, this global observance aims to raise awareness of the major problem that illicit drugs represent to society. Share facts on drugs, save lives is the theme of 2021, which aims at combating misinformation and promotes sharing the facts on drugs, from health risk and solutions to tackle the world drug problem to evidence-based prevention, treatment, and care. Today, all is about uncovering drug laws, where our Honorable Justice is here to speak on progressive development of drug laws in India and overview. Before we get started, I request all the participants to follow the decorum. The question and answer session will be after the completion of the speech by our Lordship. Participants can type their questions in the chat box. Now, I welcome Dr. A. Vijayalakshmi, the convener of this event, to extend a formal welcome address to the chief guest, dignitaries, and the audience.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
It's indeed pleasure and privilege for the Dr. Ambedkar Law University in welcoming our honorable chief guest, a premier, a pioneer personality of today's theme. Today we are observing International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. So when we thought about this day, when we thought about of planning or going for organizing a webinar, the first person who comes to our mind is none other than our today's chief guest, Honorable Justice P.N. Prakash sir. So no one is there to adhere or to address the person or the audience, the needy person, about today's theme. Lordship, who was a legend in this drug laws field, as Lordship has served a variety of positions in addressing, in confronting, and providing justice to drug-related laws in southern region. So now this drug-related laws or drug abuse or illicit trafficking are a totally neglected area in the entire legal system, particularly in the criminal justice system. To give more effect toward this and to create awareness about this drug abuses, illicit trafficking, and other legal provisions, so when we requested our Honorable Lordship Justice, without second thought, Lordship accepted our invitation. And not only that, Lordship has graciously from time to time giving various suggestions and guidance how to take this webinar to the next level. Lordship was very particular as our theme without touching the pandemic. So pandemic is not the only theme of every webinar always. Pandemic may end one day, but our legal thrust will go on. So today's theme is not going to concentrate on the pandemic issue and the drug laws. It is going to be exclusively about the drug laws of what we are going to speak today. And more than that, Lordship was very curious to address the students. So it gives more encouragement towards us to take this webinar to the next platform. Thank you, Lordship. It's our privilege and pride and our honor to have you on this day of International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking in addressing the audience and the gatherings and to share and to extend your experience and knowledge in the drug laws. I also, from the bottom of our heart, the entire organizing committee, welcoming our Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir. So due to some health issues, sir is not possible to join today, but sir is the driving factor behind all these webinars. Sir has encouraged us, guided us, and motivated us to go and conduct lot of law awareness related programs through this platform. Thank you so much, sir, for your guidance, support, and a constant encouragement for the faculties in conducting these sorts of programs. Kindly take care of your health, sir. I welcome our respected registrar, Dr. V. Balaji, sir, who is also our director in charge of School of Excellence in Law. Thank you, sir, for joining with us and to take part as the role of our Vice Chancellor, sir's role in giving presidential address also. And I want to thank Balaji, sir, also for his graciousness in accepting our proposal and all other events going on. Thank you so much, sir, for joining with us. I welcome Dr. S. Rajalakshmi, HOD, Department of Criminal Law, for joining with us and being part of this program, as this program is part and parcel of our department, Department of Criminal Law and Criminal Justice Administration. Welcome, ma'am. I welcome Dr. A. Sendil Kumar, Assistant Professor from the Department of Interdisciplinary. So you might have thought, what is the role of Dr. Sendil Kumar is going to have in this program today? So drug laws is beyond any specialization. Drug laws is not confined to any particular specialty. It is a need which is meant for a socio-legal approach. So thank you, Sendil sir, for joining with us, being a moderator. So I welcome all the dignitaries who are joined over here today. Professor Dr. Kailviri ma'am, Principal, Government Law College, Viluppuram. Our faculties, Dr. Balamurugan sir, Dr. Mahalakshmi madam, and all other faculties, those who are joined today, and all the dignitaries, advocates, and the students, those who are joined today in listening and to get benefited out of this program. I would be failed in my duty if I fail to mention Advocate Kamalnathan sir, Advocate Vivekanandan sir, and Advocate Sendilnathan sir, who guided us, who assisted us, and make this webinar to come into reality. Thank you so much, sir. So I don't want to take much time because we are awaiting to get more knowledge and sharing of materials from our lordship. So in behalf of the entire Law University, I welcome each and everyone to this webinar. Welcome you all. Leave it to you, Sendil sir.
Thank you, madam, for your pleasant welcome address. Now, as a mark of formal inauguration of this event, I request our University Registrar, Professor Dr. V. Balaji, to present his inaugural address. Over to Balaji, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Sanil Kumar. Am I audible?
Yes,
Clear?
sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Good morning to one and all. At the outset, I congratulate and wish the success of this online national webinar on International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Traffic, organized by the Tamil Nadu Ambedkar Law University today. And I am happy to be amongst the distinguished speaker as a chief guest, Honorable Thiru Justice P.N. Prakash, Madras High Court, and our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. N.S. Santosh Kumar sir, my esteemed colleagues, Dr. Vijay Lakshmi, convener of this webinar, Dr. S. Rajalakshmi, the head of the Department of the of Criminal Law, Dr. Sendil Kumar, moderator and co-convener of this program, and my beloved student Deepak Christina as student coordinator. The distinguished chief guest today is our Honorable Justice P.N. Prakash, Madras High Court. Lordship, if you can give me a few minutes, I have to, because when this program is there, and I indeed saw the profile, which was in fact, I just wanted this to be addressed to the students to get motivated. So I request the Lordship kindly to allow me a few minutes to say about Lordship's career. Lordship graduated BL from Madras Law College and obtained a diploma also in labor administration from the Tamil Nadu Institute of Labor Studies. His career as an advocate started as he enrolled on 18 January 1984 in the Bar Council of Tamil Nadu, had the tutelage in the law offices of Mr. K.M. Srirangan and Mr. P. Rajamanikam, the then public prosecutors. Enjoyed extensive practice both at the principal seat and the Madurai bench of the Madras High Court, predominantly on the criminal side. Appeared in cases in Supreme Court also, and practiced in all subordinate criminal courts in Chennai, city civil court, labor courts, administrative tribunals, session courts throughout Tamil Nadu. Debt recovery tribunals in Chennai, family court in Chennai, Mahila court in Chennai, CBI special courts in Chennai, consumer courts, National Consumer Disputes Redressal Commission, New Delhi, and his area of specialization involved conduct of trials in appeals in criminal cases and election petitions in the High Court. Lordship adorned various positions as additional special public prosecutor by the central government in 1994 and appointed in 1995 as additional special public prosecutor under the NDPS Act for the special courts in Chennai by the central government for a period of 3 years. Appointed in 1998 as additional special public prosecutor for Narcotics Control Bureau, Government of India, for special courts throughout Tamil Nadu for the period of 3 years. In 2001, appointed as special public prosecutor narcotics for the Madras High Court for Narcotic Control Bureau, Government of India for a period of 3 years. And nominated in 2002 as a special public prosecutor for CBI for a period of 3 years. Lordship also in 2003 appointed as special public prosecutor for Customs and Excise for Madras High Court for a period of 3 years. And appointed as a special public prosecutor under the NDPS Act by the Narcotics Control Bureau, Government of India for the High Courts of Madras, Kerala, Karnataka, and Andhra Pradesh. Lordship was also designated as special counsel by the Tamil Nadu government to defend the city police in Mr. Justice Raman Commission of Inquiry to probe into the death of one Venkatesan Pannayar, resigned, and Lordship resigned all government positions in the 2006 and started a new firm, Norton and Grant. Lordship was also interested in academics as a guest lecturer in Tamil Nadu State Judicial Academy, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel National Police Academy, Hyderabad, Police Training College, Tamil Nadu, National Academy of Customs, Excise and Narcotics, Chennai, Staff Academic Council, University of Madras, Dr. Ambedkar Law College, Chennai, and Indira Gandhi Forest Academy, Dehradun. Was engaged actively as an honorary editor and editorial board of the prestigious Madras Law Journal, Criminal Law Journal, Madras Weekly Notes, and besides contributing articles regularly to Madras Law Journal, Current Tamil Nadu Cases, and Criminal Law Journal since 1995. Passionate in teaching by conducting various programs. Lordship sworn in as an additional judge of the Madras High Court in 2013 and as a permanent judge in 2015. Lordship, I was astonished by the rich experiences and the knowledge, the legal acumen what Lordship is having, and indeed we are really we are thanking the organizers for requesting you to come. And Lordship, we are very grateful to you for giving your valuable consent to be part of this program and grace the occasion. Lordship. Next, I have to greet our Honorable Professor Dr. Santosh Kumar sir, who cannot able to attend because of illness, but Lordship has greeted our Honorable Lordship, and we wanted to convey his greetings to the webinar program organizers for the success for these programs. And as Madam Vijayalakshmi told, our Honorable Vice Chancellor is the driving force for all the academic programs what is being conducted, and has given a full freedom for the academic to conduct the program freely. And we are really blessed to have him as a Vice Chancellor, who is a guiding force to all. My wishes also goes to esteemed colleague Dr. Vijayalakshmi, who is convener of this program, and he has also chosen the right person for this program. And I also greet Dr. S. Rajalakshmi, the HOD of Department of Criminal Law, who is going to render the vote of thanks. I also record my wishes and to my esteemed colleague, Dr. Sendil Kumar, Assistant Professor, who is moderator. He is also co-convener of this webinar for its success. And once again, I welcome you all, and I thank the organizers for giving me this wonderful opportunity. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Over to you, Sendil.
A very warm welcome and thanks to our Honorable Registrar, Professor Dr. V. Balaji, for his inaugural address and making all of us to know about the chief guest, our Honorable Lordship. Now, it's time to go for the main part of our program. Now, I humbly request our chief guest, Honorable Thiru Justice P.N. Prakash, Judge, Madras High Court, to address the audience. Welcome, Lordship.
Thank you, Dr. Sendil Kumar. Thank you. A very fine good morning, Dr. Balaji, Dr. Vijay Lakshmi, and I find a whole host of teachers, legal luminaries, advocates there, and my dear students. I was more keen to speak to my dear students because this is a very important topic and on a very important day, being International Drug Day, about which has been spoken about earlier. We are having this webinar. As hope my voice is audible to everyone. Is there any
Very clear, Lordship, audible.
clarity? Fine. I wouldn't think. See, this is a very important day, as pointed out by Dr. Vijay Lakshmi, that we are not going to speak about Corona at all. Let's forget Corona. Corona is going to. It has already passed. Let's get to better business. Drugs is one of the very important business, my dear friends. Now, I really do not want to bother you, taking you through the various provisions of the NDPS Act and troubling you on a Saturday morning, because I understand that the attention span of any person will be not more than a half an hour or 40 minutes. Beyond that, people will become restless in any meeting. So I really don't want to do that. But on the contrary, I want to make it very, very interesting to you by taking you back in time. I want to take you back in history to understand how this law evolved, so that you will be in a better position to understand why the law is so stringent as it appears to be today. My dear friends, I requested earlier through Dr. Vijay Lakshmi that everybody could have the WARE Act of NDPS Act with you. I just would draw your kind attention to Section 82 of the Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Act 1985. This is 1985 enactment. I just want you all to take, I'll give you some 10 seconds time for you to go to Section 82. I hope by now the audience, whoever has a book, would have managed to take the Section 82. Section 82, why I'm taking Section 82 is, whenever you read a statute, first you should understand that, find out what the earlier statute was and whether that has been repealed, or is this a new subject in which the law is being made. This is how we must start an inquiry. In law, tomorrow when you're going to be a lawyer, when you're going to take up a statute, first what you'll have to do is go to the last section, find out whether this particular statute is repealing any earlier statutes. Then you'll get a fair idea what was wrong with those earlier statutes that have resulted in this present statute. So in that context, I'll just read Section 82 of the NDPS Act, which says, the Opium Act 1857, Act 13 of 1857, the Opium Act 1878, and the Dangerous Drugs Act 1930 are hereby repealed. So what you would understand, prior to 1985 NDPS Act, there were 3 acts. One act is Opium Act 1857, the Opium Act 1878, and the Dangerous Drugs Act 1930. My dear friends, what is so great about these 2 Opium Acts? You may be really wondering if I take you back in time to history. Opium is a plant. It's a poppy plant which grows in a very fertile areas like North Indian areas like Mandsaur in Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan. These places are very, very, the climatic condition is so suitable that in these places in the north of India, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan mainly, a lot part of Uttar Pradesh, Bengal, and then Afghanistan, that side of Punjab, that is the Pakistan side of Punjab, our side of Punjab, as well Afghanistan. These are all the places where this particular poppy opium is very, very, the climate suits for the growth of this particular plant. Opium, my dear friends, was known to our Indians 4,000, 3,000 years back, because opium has got sedative value. It has got a sedative value, and our Ayurvedic, most of our Ayurvedic preparations will have a tinge of opium, or opium was used for several surgeries by our Ayurvedic physicians 2,000 or 3,000 years back. If you ask the Ayurvedic physician, they will tell you they've got a very rich history of their Ayurvedic science, and they would tell you that opium was being used. And mind you, my dear friends, we Indians we knew the use of opium, but we saw to it that we did not overuse it. We used to consume opium as bhang, or during any of this holy festival, people used to occasionally have opium, and that is how opium was being used by our Indians prior to the coming in of the East India Company. None of the rulers, whether it was the Mughal rulers or the local Indian rulers, none of them insisted our farmers what crop they should put. This was entirely left to the discretion and freedom of the farmers everywhere in our country, be it Rajaraja Cholan or be it the North Indian kings, Akbar, or right down up to Aurangzeb or Shah Alam. None of them ever said what plant to be sown. People were permitted, and in a particular locality, if rice was there, they used to, because market forces knew which plant to be, which crop to be sown, and our farmers were doing it. Everything was going on fine until the British came here as ordinary traders. They came here as ordinary traders, and slowly, one by one, they started interfering into the political affairs of our country. The watershed, my dear friends, is the Battle of Buxar. Battle of Buxar, I'm sure you would have read in your history books, 1764. That is the battle where the East India Company forces and the combined forces of the Delhi Darbar and the Bengal Nawab, all of them put together. Battle of Buxar is fought in 1764, and the East India Company wins that battle. So far, so good. 1765 is another watershed year when the Treaty of Allahabad is entered into. The Treaty of Allahabad, my dear friends, gave the East India Company the Diwani rights of Bengal, Bihar, and Orissa. You meant by Diwani rights means the power to collect rent and revenue from the lands in that area was given by the Mughal Emperor, Azam number 2, Shah Alam number 2. Shah Alam number 2 was the descendant of Aurangzeb. He was the last Mughal emperor. He was a weak emperor. He lost in the Battle of Buxar. So that man gave, entered into a treaty, Allahabad Treaty, with Robert Clive. According to the treaty, these fellows were given large swathes of land in Bengal, Bihar, and North Indian Gangetic plains for them to make money. My dear friends, until the British came and taught us that land is a commodity, we Indians never traded land as a commodity. We Indians had a very great attachment to land. Land was part and parcel of our life, and we used to use the usufructs of the land, the crops, all that we used to use. But land was not a tradable commodity for the Indians. Land was worshipped by Indians. Any farmer you take for him, land is a worshipable commodity. But East India Company is a business company. For them, whatever they looked at from the angle of business proposition. So it was those fellows who first taught us to look at land as a real estate. From what started in 1774 to 2021, today when you see a plot of land in Amjikarai or in Chennai Nagar or in or OMR Road, first thing your mind goes is, how much can be, how much this money will come, how many crores, what is square foot of land. This thought was never there in our psyche at all. It was not there in our genes at all, because land was not a commodity according to us. It was just it was there, and people used to use it, and you make use a crop, stay, live there. That's all. So the concept of land being a real estate was taught by these traders to us. And what these fellows did was they found opium. They found that opium was capable of a kick, a sort of a feeling which would create. And so what they did was they found a very good market for opium in adjoining China. In China, because East India Company was managing the business affairs of not only India, China, all these these Asian countries, they were managing. So they found that there was a great demand for opium in China. So what these people did is, and you would have been taught in your law college history, 1773 Regulating Act. They would have taught you 1773 Regulating Act, because the British Parliament passes the act and says that East India Company's affairs have to be regulated, and Warren Hastings gets appointed as the first Governor General. All the stories. The regulating acts give the power to the the government of the East India Company to pass regulations. So the regulations were passed from 1795. From 1795 to 1816, several regulations were passed by the East India Company to regulate opium trade. You know what they did, my dear friend? You'll be shocked if I tell you. They made the farmers to switch from ordinary wheat and other crop to opium. They made the farmers, what they did was they measured the settlement act made them to measure the land, survey number, etc. What these fellows did was they said that you don't put any other crop, you have to put. If you read that 1816 regulation, you know what I have done is I'll tell about it later. 1816 regulation, the farmer had no other choice. The poor farmer had no other choice but to put only opium in his land, which even the Aurangzeb did not do. None of the Indian kings did. These fellows, what they did was they forcibly made these farmers to put opium crop. Then what they did was they appointed agents. East India Company appointed agents. And what is the work of the agent? Well, the agent was given money. He was given a lot of money. This fellow, the agent, will go to the farmer, give him the money, ask him to sow opium, measure the land, and ensure that the opium is sold only to him. That is, for example, if the particular land will be measured, the opium will be grown, and this collector, this agent will go and collect the opium. That is how the word collector came. Today we are having district collector, this collector. How did the word collector came? Collector came because these officials were appointed as agents to collect revenue. And when they collected these revenue, the expression collector came. And today also we are having the same designation, district collector. Of course, today's collector, the work of a today's collector is totally different from what the collectors were during the East India Company days. All right. Now, then what they did was they will take their opium thing and remove the opium. See, the poppy plant will come, and from that one resin, one sort of a gum will come. Beautiful thing. It will be very beautiful to see the opium, the poppy thing in Mandsaur and all. If you go, the flower will be very beautiful. It is a film shooting paradise. It's a paradise for film shooting. Several duet scenes and all will be taken. It's a very beautiful scene it will be. So what they would do is they would draw that resin and make it into compatible capsules, and they were taking it to Calcutta. From Calcutta, the East India Company was selling it at auction to smugglers. The smugglers and East India Company were having a tie-up. You know why? East India Company's activities was being watched by the British, by people like Edmund Burke. All these fellows there were watching the East India Company. Macaulay is one person who was watching East India Company's activities, and he was very frustrated with the East India Company. So these fellows are watching. So East India Company cannot itself involve in smuggling. So what they used to do is they used to sell this opium to smugglers. Smugglers, what they will do is they will take this opium to China, pump the opium, pump it into China, and over a period of time, my dear friends, Chinese population, almost 40 to 50% of the Chinese population became addicted to opium, and the entire population lost its manliness. It became very, very weak. The population became so weak that, it really affected their general morality. The morality of the Chinese were affected. And opium smuggling, if I tell you some of the way these fellows did, what they did was, the opiums from Bengal used to be taken in ship, and the ships will be anchored in the coast of China. Ships will be anchored in the coast of China for people to come and buy opium and go. It was the floating market. Opium floating market was there. And this opium had put China into so much of trouble that at one point of time, the Chinese emperor felt that something has to be done to stop this nonsense, because at one time or the other, the Chinese population became corrupt, became morally weak, physically weak, diseased. So the Qing dynasty, Qing, in China, it's the Qing dynasty. You pronounce it Qing, Qing dynasty. So the Qing dynasty emperor felt that opium had corrupted his ministers, corrupted his officials, and there was the army was corrupted. So everything was corrupted. He didn't know what to do. Out of frustration, what he did was he ordered one of his very competent ministers to seize all the opium that was kept in his land by the British East India Company, and he destroyed the opium. The moment this was destroyed, the message was sent to England that Chinese are not permitting East India Company to do the business, and England sent its army. England and France sent their army, and two wars were fought. And those two wars are called the Great Opium Wars. The Opium Wars were fought at two stages. One stage was 1839 to 1842. The British and the French fought the war, and they won the war. After winning the war, what are the terms of deal between China? The terms of deal was, for having caused the war, China must give Hong Kong on a perpetual free lease to England. And that is how Hong Kong, which was part of China, came into the hands of England, UK, out of the Opium War, 1839. Then second Opium War was fought between 1856 to 1860. This war also made the Chinese losses were, because by then Chinese army was corrupted, Chinese everything, and these people were far superior in their with their cannons and other things and all, and they were able to vanquish the Chinese. And China was forced to open all their ports for duty-free ports were made for the Britishers to trade in opium. My dear friends, the minister of the Qing dynasty tells the emperor, our people have become addicted to opium. Why not we legalize opium? If we legalize opium, at least we will get some revenue from opium. We can get some taxes. The emperor thought for some time and said, my ancestors never did that. I will not do it till I die. My dear friends, all this you will find. I have shared with Dr. Vijayalakshmi a beautiful a book which my friend Sharat Chandran, who pulled out from an archives in a law library in USA, a book of 90 pages book, which is a letter written by one Major Alexander of East India Company to the House of Commons, saying how these fellows are plundering. And that book, I've downloaded it and given it to Dr. Vijayalakshmi. Those of you who have got habit of reading, those of you who have habit of wanting to understand history, those of you who have penchant for this, ask for it from Dr. Vijayalakshmi and read it. Then it will be an eye-opener to you what amount of plundering this company was doing, not only in India, in China too. Be that as it may. Now the Chinese laws. See, today we are seeing the Chinese so aggressive. You see, the present Prime Minister, the Communist movement. You know why they are like that? For about 100 years, they were totally servile and they were literally beaten by the foreign powers, and they lost their self-respect. Only when Mao Zedong came, that self-respect came back, and today they are flexing their muscles and showing that yes, we are a superpower. Nobody can dictate terms to us. Those days of you people dictating terms to us has gone. We are now that self-respect. They have got it back now because they have come out of this opium thing, and the society is now flexing its muscles. The government of China is flexing its muscles. That is a history. Now in history, there will be a time when one civilization, one country goes down, one country comes up. Those are very bad days for China. Now there are good days for China. We will keep China for a minute and let's get back to India. As I was telling you, the opium farmers were forced to sell the opium at a peanut price, at just a throwaway price to these agents. And these agents sold the same opium to Chinese smugglers at exorbitant price. The East India Company fellows became very, very rich, and they started buying properties in England. Each fellow, they were becoming billionaires, and this attracted the attention of people like Macaulay and others. Well, how the hell these fellows are getting money? All smuggling money of opium. They were purchasing this villa, that villa, everything there in UK. Then what happens is, what 1857, if you see, my dear friends, Opium Act is of that 1857. What is 1857 very relevant to you? The moment if I say 1857, you will think about mutiny. The mutiny which took place in 1857 and which led to the British Crown taking over the administration of India, leaving the empire, leaving the East India Company. East India Company's death warrant was issued by the 1858 Act. Crown takes over. This is history. Now, after the Crown took over, was there any change in the philosophy? Absolutely not. The Crown, what it did was, what East India Company was doing, Crown was doing. Only thing was, Crown, there's a section in 1857 Act which says that the farmers cannot be compelled to put opium, but whatever opium the farmer puts on the lands of the government, it will be sold only to the government. So the government took monopoly of the sale of opium. This is going on. Opium Act 1857 regularized this. Opium Act 1878 made possession of opium other than as approved by the government illegal. If any person was found in possession of opium without a license, was held to be illegal, was punishable under the 1878 Act. So two acts were there. Opium was being there. All right. This is opium is relating to natural product. It's a natural product, an agricultural product. Besides agriculture, what was happening in the world was chemistry and other sciences were developing leaps and bounds. The chemistry, the chemical industry was the new inventions were being, new discoveries or inventions or whatever you call, were being made in the field of chemistry, physics, and etc. In the laboratory, our chemists started manufacturing intoxicating like tablets, amphetamine, methaqualone, these sort of chemically manufactured drugs started surfacing, and people started using it for their addiction purpose. Now, on one side, opium is a natural product. On the other side, you have laboratory-made products like amphetamine, methaqualone, a lot of LSD. All these are there. It goes on like that. Now, when that became a very serious problem, the Dangerous Drugs Act 1930 was brought into force. Dangerous Drugs Act 1930 took care of all the laboratory aspects of drugs, and it was taken care. So on the eve of independence, and in states like Tamil Nadu, what had happened was we had the Tamil Nadu Prohibition Act, and ganja is a cannabis plant. Ganja is a cannabis plant which used to grow in places like Andhra Pradesh, Dindikkal area, Kerala, all these places. The cannabis plant will come, and that is also a natural product which was being dealt by under the Tamil Nadu Prohibition Act. Those days, what they used to do was they used to invoke Tamil Nadu Prohibition Act, and they used to arrest these fellows carrying ganja and all. That is how it was going on. Now, post-independence, what happens is the more developments take place. What are the development is? Acetic anhydride. Acetic anhydride is a substance which is required by the drug industry for manufacture of ordinary paracetamols and other things. Acetic anhydride is used by the legal drug manufacturing industries. The drug industry is not always illegal. There are other legal your health drugs are there, your paracetamol, all these tablets are there. So this drug industry needed acetic anhydride. Now, one excellent genius, what he did was, I really do not know who the genius was. He found a way by which, if acetic anhydride and opium is boiled, and by a process of crystallization, in chemistry there's a process called crystallization. In the process of crystallization is done, a brown color or whitish brown powder was getting formed, and that powder had a great impact on the dopamine levels of human beings. This powder is called brown sugar or heroin. Brown sugar or heroin is a combination of acetic anhydride and opium. 10 kilos of opium with 2.5 kilos of acetic anhydride. If you boil and something and all, they will add some chemical combination they will do. And ultimately, when the crystals are formed, you will get 1 kilo of heroin. And the heroin changed the entire complex of drugs smuggling throughout the world. Heroin is, my dear friend, try to understand. When a person gets drunk, liquor, arak, toddy, when he gets drunk, what happens is the cerebral tissues, the cerebral tissues get jammed, and the connection between two things gets disconnected, and the drunkard starts shouting. He is creating a ruckus. He creates ruckus in the streets. He doesn't know what he does, and then he goes and falls flat and goes to sleep. This is all is drunkardness. Drunkardness contracts or presses the tissues in the cerebral area, and it causes a sort of a kick. After that, this fellow loses his thing, and then if there's some street brawl, something he will do, he'll shout, and then he will go out to sleep. That's all. Not very dangerous fellow. A drunkard is not a dangerous fellow, but a heroin consumer is a very, very dangerous person. A heroin consumer gets his dopamine. You know, in our body, the three: dopamine, oxytocin, and serotonin. You know, I'm sure you would have read about it. Dopamine is a drug which keeps you happy. The happiness hormone, the happiness substance which is secreted in your brain. The moment you're happy, the dopamine levels increase, and the stage of happiness continues. Heroin affects the central nervous system, and it creates dopamine inside the person, and it takes away fear. It takes away all the other negative emotions and keeps the person very, very happy. And in that happy state of affairs, you would love to be throughout. You would not like to go to sleep after taking a quarter of a gin, a quarter of a rum, or a quarter of arak, or a full of water, whatever it is. He would not. He would like to have this heroin and be in a state of consciousness, awareness, at the same time a level of happiness, a great level of happiness. this heroin found a very, very, very great amount of market in the Western areas, in the Western countries. Western countries, Europe, especially Europe and America, especially during those hippie days. I remember, if you can remember, after the Vietnam War, after the Second World War, rich children in US started asking, why all this? Why should I have my bath? Why should I have to brush my teeth? Why should I do this? Why not I grow my hair? Why not I? So this sort of hippie moment came, and hippie moment, the cannabis attracted them, ganja attracted them, heroin, all these goods, all these things attracted them, and there was a very great market for heroin in the European countries, because unfortunately for Europe, this opium will not grow in the climate. So since opium will not grow, opium will grow, as I told you, in India, Pakistan, Afghanistan area. This diacetyl morphine opium combined produces heroin. Heroin finds a great market amongst the youth in the European countries, and the youth start using it. And heroin, my dear friends, became a medium of exchange. You know how it became a medium of exchange? I can tell you. In the Western countries, there are arms manufacturers. These arms manufacturers manufacture arms for all the things. They manufacture arms not only for the government of a country. They will also manufacture arms and supply illegally to the rebels who are fighting against the government. If you read O Jerusalem by Lapierre Collins and Dominic Lapierre and Collins, Dominic Lapierre's book, it's a very lovely book. You will find that the same manufacturer would sell to the Arabs, the same manufacturer will sell to the Jews. They will go and purchase from the same person, and arms manufacturers have no qualms at all. Today, the biggest lobby, the economic lobby that controls the world affairs, a very important lobby that controls the world affairs, is arms lobby. Arms lobby will ensure that in America, a ban of carrying arms will never come. In America, the problem is bearing arms is a constitutional thing. So they will never, even though you can find in America one boy taking a gun and shooting children, teachers, everything. Unlike India, where there's strict arms laws, America and all will never bring arms laws, because there is a big lobby there which will not permit illegals, which will not permit ban of arms. And arms, for purchase of arms, people used to smuggle gold. Those days, gold smuggling was there in Tamil Nadu, all over India. Gold used to come and go. Gold was a medium of exchange for purchasing so many things. Slowly, from gold, heroin became a medium of exchange. With heroin, people could purchase arms and ammunition, and they could use it. And wherever there was terrorism, there was heroin traffic increasing. This was observed globally. Mind you, my dear friends, the United Nations brought about 2 treaties. I'm sure about which there was a reference to the thing. The Vienna Convention, the international conventions were there to which India was a signatory. 1971 Psychotropic Substance Convention. These conventions, India was a signatory. India had agreed to change the Indian laws, but we never, though we signed it in 1971, we did not repeal the Opium Act, which was very obsolete. The Dangerous Drugs Act was very obsolete. We did not repeal at all. We were moving only with the old acts. The real problem came to India, when? In 1980 to 83, when Khalistan, when Bhindranwala and their group started asking, the Punjab terrorism increased in Punjab, where a situation came, Punjab would have gone out of India. Punjab would have gone out of India. Punjab terrorists needed arms, and terrorism was being, and for that they need exchange. They need exchange, and there was lot of opium growing in that area. So heroin and terrorism had a direct link, had a very direct link, and the terrorists used to use heroin as a medium of exchange for procuring arms from the Western countries. Western countries are the suppliers of arms, you know that, because they've got a rich steel. They have got very rich steel. They have got all the arms industries, and they will sell arms in exchange for thing. And these arms used to come illegally to all the terrorist groups, which were supplied by the arms smugglers. When US came to know about it, the problem is if anything is bad for US, it is bad for the whole world. That is how they will make it look. And because they are the superpower, they have everything at their command, and they will say it. They were asking all the countries to bring in strict arms, strict narcotic laws to tighten the narco terrorism. Those days, when I was a public prosecutor, there used to be so much of trafficking of heroin from India, Sri Lanka, and it used to go out of thing. We used to do several cases where the involvement of people from Sri Lanka and carrying heroin in very peculiar circumstances. I have done a case where heroin was seized from Veena. From a Veena it was seized. Then I had done a case where heroin was behind Jesus, the photo of Jesus Christ, Mother Mary there, and behind that heroin was thing. I have done, as a public prosecutor for about 14 years, I have done variety of these heroin cases. Some of the interesting cases, which I will tell you a little later, which you will really laugh thing. So the heroin trafficking was increasing wherever there was violence. Wherever there was violence, there was heroin trafficking increasing. Now, the problem India really faced was Mrs. Indira Gandhi was assassinated in the year 1983 by the Punjab, by her own bodyguards, about whom you know. It was an offshoot of her the Punjab violence. The Punjab violence has resulted in the assassination of Mrs. Indira Gandhi. Mrs. Indira Gandhi dies in 1983. 1984 election comes. Mr. Rajiv Gandhi comes to power. The huge majority of 450 MPs, if my memory serves me right. It was a massive majority. Wins. As soon as Rajiv Gandhi comes to power, two acts he brings into force, my dear friends. Two acts. One act is TADA 1985, Terrorist and Disruptionist Act 1985, and Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substance Act 1985. These two enactments was a cry. The country needed these enactments because the situation was that Punjab was going out of hand. Punjab was going, it had gone to out of India, it got dismembered. To check the thing, these two enactments were brought. NDPS Act was brought under such circumstances by the Parliament to curb, to break the nexus between the terrorists, drug smugglers, and arms suppliers. This triangle has to be broken. And if you read the provisions of the NDPS Act, you will find that NDPS Act gives wide range of powers to every form of officer, conceivable form of officer. You will find. If I tell you that in TADA, the confession to police officer from the rank of superintendent of police was made admissible under the TADA Act 1985. TADA Act 1985 was subjected to constitutional validity test in Kartar Singh was a state of Punjab. A 5 judges bench, Justice Ratnavel Pandian was there. Yes, I remember this Ratnavel Pandian name. There are 5 eminent judges, great judges of the Supreme Court. They uphold several provisions of TADA, and they strike down several provisions as unconstitutional. One provision, I think, one provision was struck down unconstitutional. In TADA, jail was the rule, bail was the exception. Jail was the rule and bail was the exception. And such a similar, and that provision was held to be constitutionally valid by in Kartar Singh case. And a similar provision was brought in NDPS Act also, section 37, which also makes jail as the rule and bail as the thing. So, NDPS Act, as I told you, is a combination of the revenue laws and police laws. It's a combination of both revenue laws and police laws. You will not find such an enactment, such provisions in any other enactment. You will not find such provisions in any other enactment. Police used to conduct investigation under the Code of Criminal Procedure. Revenue officers like customs officers, central excise officer, gold control officers, they used to conduct investigation under the Customs Act, Central Excise Act, Gold Control Act, Foreign Exchange Regulation Act. They will conduct investigation, and those investigations are different from the investigation conducted by the police. Now, for the first time, my dear friends, this NDPS Act combines both the civil and the police into one bottle. I will just draw your kind attention to section 41. I don't want to trouble you reading the entire section. I want to give you a sample of one provision, how the combination is there. If you can find time, please take 41 subsection 2. 41 subsection 2. I'll give you some 10 minutes, a few seconds for you to take 41 subsection 2. I hope you would have taken 41 subsection 2. I will just read 41 subsection 2. Any such officer of gazetted rank of the departments of Central Excise, Narcotics, Customs, Revenue Intelligence, or any other department of the central government, including the paramilitary forces or the armed forces, as is empowered in this behalf by general or special order by the central government, or any such officer of the revenue, drugs control, excise, police, or any other department of a state government, as is empowered in this behalf by general or special order of the state government. So, how many departments? All the departments of, central excise, narcotics, customs, revenue, and any other department of central government, state government. Supposing the government, state government says that we give the power to Department of Printing and Stationery. You know, printing and stationery, there's a department which will deal with printing and stationery. Or we Department of anything else. So that power is given, yes, even they will have power. What is the power they will have? If he has reason to believe from personal knowledge or information given by any person and taken writing that any person has committed an offense punishable under this act, or that any narcotic drug or psychotropic substance or controlled substance in respect of which any offense under this act has been committed, or any document or any other article which may furnish evidence of the commission of such offense, etc., etc., there, he may enter into the search and arrest the person. So, entering into searching, seizure, and arresting the person is given to all the officers, most of the officers of central government and most of the officers of state government, including the police, including the paramilitary, BSF, CISF, CRPF, or whatever paramilitary you have, they can also conduct search and seizure. So this is a very, very wide provision, my dear friends, which gives a whole lot of why? Because that was the time, you know, when the situation was so bad that the parliament thought that everybody must be given the power to see that this heroin and all these stuffs are brought into control. And the expression narcotic drugs and psychotropic substance, my dear friends, is narcotic drugs is defined. Narcotic drugs are drugs which come where the source is a natural product. Where the source is a natural product, it is called narcotic drugs. Where the source is a synthetic product, a laboratory product, it is called psychotropic substances. Your methamphetamine, amphetamine, methaqualone, LSD, all these are called psychotropic substances. In Tamil, it is beautifully called Mananilai Badhikkum Chattam. Bodai Purul Matrum Mananilai Badhipu Chattam. Bodai Purul is narcotic drugs, Matrum Mananilai Badhipu, psychotropic substances. So both this psychotropic substances have been brought into this, and this act makes the very possession of these drugs as punishable. when the act came into force, the minimum sentence was 10 years rigorous imprisonment. Minimum sentence was 10 years. Then over a period of time, there have been several amendments to this act whereby graded punishment is being given now. Graded punishment is, now the present grade punishment is, there are 3 quantities: small quantity, commercial quantity, and middle quantity. The quantity for each drug has been prescribed by the central government by a separate notification. For example, heroin, what is the small quantity, what is the commercial quantity? Ganja, what is the small quantity, what is the commercial quantity? Now, commercial quantity means minimum sentence of 10 years. Middle quantities up to 10 years. The small quantities less than 3 years or 2 years or whatever it is. So, graded punishment has been given now. Earlier, there was no graded punishment; it was only uniform punishment. Then then there are other safeguards in this act, where if a woman is to be searched under section 50, you will have to give an option to the person if you conduct a body search, whether it will be like to be taken before a gazetted officer or a thing. This, my dear friends, I told you earlier that some of the interesting cases which I have done. A very interesting case. I told you that in a Veena it was taken, Jesus Christ, all that is taken in a thing, carried in a thing outside the body. The worst cases I've seen is people used to load contraceptives. Contraceptives are available, no? Contraceptives, they will load heroin, make it into a ball, swallow 10 balls, and they keep it in the stomach. And they will pass through the customs. Then they will go. They'll undergo training. You and I cannot swallow a ball and do it. They will undergo a special training. There is a training camp for. They are called Kurvis. Kurvi training camp. So Kurvi training camp, what they will do? They will teach a Kurvi how to keep it in the stomach. And then you pass once you keep it in the, our X-ray, that ray, this ray, all this ray, we can find out if it is kept in a box or anything. If it is quietly sealed, packed in a contraceptive thing, swallowed and kept in the stomach, very difficult to find out. And I'm telling you, our intelligence agencies used to find even that. You know what our fellows will do? Our fellows will be watching in the customs area the incoming flight. They'll be watching. If they find somebody going to toilet very frequently and going and out of it, they'll suddenly stop him. So here the problem is, if you check his body, his packet and all, he will be a pakka legal traveler. But then you must have to arrest him. Afterwards, the investigating officer should have to give him biryani. You'll have to give him a lot of food to eat, and then give him a newspaper. He will have to pass stools in the newspaper. From the stools, this will come. This 10. The 10 thing will not come in the first stool. He will pass motion for about 3 or 4 times, and ultimately, by time the investigating officer secures the 10 round balls, it will be 48 hours. So, this, how many cases we have done on this? I used to really wonder how these people are able to keep this inside the stomach and they eject it when they think it. Because the value of that little amount of heroin, that what will that particular contraceptive will contain hardly about 10 grams or 25 grams, or it cannot contain more than that. It cannot contain more than that. So one thing can at the most contain about 10 grams. Then the 10 into 10 will be 100 grams. In the stomach, there will be 100 grams of it. And for the 100 grams, the amount of money that 100 grams will fetch them is phenomenal. It's phenomenal. So it is worth trying this thing. And this sort of smuggling used to take place. And we used to, the intelligence officers in the Narcotics Control Bureau, Customs Department, they used to intercept them, have it removed, and prosecute them in the court of law. There are two presumptions in this act, my dear friends. The presumption of actus reus and the presumption of mens rea. The presumption of mens rea is, I think, section 35. Section 35 says that the presumption that the person had the mens rea is against the accused. The accused has to prove that he did not have the mens rea in committing the offense. The actus reus is section 54. It says that if a person is found to be in possession, it is presumed to be guilty unless he proves that that he is not guilty. So the burden, the onus is the burden is on the reverse burden is on the accused to prove his innocence and not the prosecution. And this is broadly the excuse me. This is broadly the texture of this act, and this act creates a special courts, and special courts are empowered to try these offences. The special courts have got a procedure under which these accused are taken. I think bail is not rule. Jail is the rule. Bail is exception in this case, and this is how we are now attempting to control the drug menace. And this act also provides for addicts. See, if there's an addict is found, this act provides for giving him immunity from prosecution, giving him treatment in a thing, and ensuring that he comes out of the habits of drugs. So the addicts are also treated with an amount of humane. There is a provision for treating them humanely, and the law is on the smugglers and on the offenders. The law is very, very strict, and it goes hammer and tongs against them. Now, this is broadly the thing. Now, here only one legal point for the student interested in law. I will tell you. Earlier, the law was a statement that was given to a non-police officer was admissible as a piece of confession under section 67. That was the law here, and this confession statement was getting admitted. But very recently, a three-judge bench of the Supreme Court, Justice Nariman is there, and I think this is Indira Banerjee dissenting, have held that a statement given to such an officer is also hit by section 25 of the Evidence Act. I hope you know what section 25 of the Evidence Act is. Section 25 of the Evidence Act says that confession to a police officer is inadmissible is irrelevant. It is not admissible in the court of law. This section 25 was made applicable only to police officers. But the recent judgment of the Supreme Court has removed the bar, and it makes such a statement inadmissible even in respect of revenue officers like customs officers, central excise officers. Even such statement given to them is hit by the provisions of section 25 is what the recent Supreme Court judgment says. And there are other standard judgments on the Supreme Court about which I really don't want to trouble you, because you'll it will not be of any interest to you. So this is broadly the history and the present status of the NDPS Act. I think I was able to cover it within a period of 1 hour. This is what I was keeping in mind, because beyond that, the audience would lose the attention. Now, if you can, I think Dr. Vijayalakshmi, I think
Lordship, I think we never bother about the time. We are being get into the lecture, and not a lecture, get into the knowledge that we are just traveling, just like from 70s to 2021, how the law has been. We ourselves put ourselves into that, how the people have smuggled, how we ourselves thought that we are the farmers, we compelled to cultivate opium. So it was in such a way, Lordship, really it's an academic session more than words coming from a judicial person. We have to learn a lot how we have to take an act. We have to go for research before going into teaching an act. Really, Lordship, there is no words. It's not an artificial term I'm expressing. Really, no words to express our feeling, what we are feeling now. Not at all a botheration of time, Your Lordship. So as rightly pointed out, if we talk about more technical, it may not be useful to a non-legal person. But that's what we choose, that it should reach each and every part to to understand the seriousness and graveness of this drug abuse. And Lordship thought about very casually and very simply the terms like dopamine. What are the characterization of dopamine, because not every one of us known about it, and how we got this brown sugar. So these are all the first-hand information. I really thought that it's an mind-blowing, it's a brainstorming session, Your Lordship. That is, we never bothered about that time, and we thought that whether for a period of 1 hour, Lordship has spent his time, we bother about your health, Lordship. Thank you so much. And I think we can open the forum for questions if there is
Yes.
any question.
Yes.
And we request the participant, please stick on to the your queries with respect to the what we have today, and very slightly about the provision what Lordship had discussed in the forum today.
Yes. Some of the I and with Dr. Vijayalakshmi, if they want to know about Major Alexander's report to the House of Commons, whoever is interested, share it with them. Whoever wants to read it, you share it with them. Historically, it'd be very interesting to understand. You know what I felt was the Chinese emperor was more firm when he said that he will not legalize opium, whereas our governments are legalizing TASMAC and legalizing democratic governments, welfare states. We are legalizing the thing. In fact, opium is being traded by government now. Central government is only trading in opium. Under the NDPS Act, license has to be issued and thing. But you know, I was wondering that the amount of the Chinese emperor, he was very weak. He was very weak emperor, but he had the thing to say, no, my ancestors never did it. I will not do it, he said.
And I want to share this also because it is not a simple matter of sharing the material, which is very precious to us. Yesterday night, I got that material from Lordship's secretary. Really, I was astonished. It was a very precious material. Those who want to study about the NDPS, it was in the 1970s, which got from the University of California. And through the Microsoft, it has been converted into soft document, and very graciously Lordship shared, and he stated that whoever interested, you please share this. Sharing of knowledge, so not comes from everyone. So really, I hope
you can make a book out of it and keep the book in your library. Some people will be interested in reading the hard copy. In 90 pages, it hardly costs you 1,000 rupees.
We will do it, Lordship. Price is not a matter. Definitely, we will take a copy, and in Lordship's name, we will place it in our library.
No. Knowledge is.
It's a contribution from that.
Knowledge is to be nationalized. No, knowledge has to never be inside anybody. It should be nationalized. It should be. So you make it into 5 copies in your library and keep it. Somebody will read. Somebody will like to read it.
Sure, definitely, Lordship. So the question is from Mr. N.S. Dev, IRS. He wants to throw some light on the admissibility of the statement under Section 67 post the Tofan Singh decision.
I think N.S. Dev was intelligence officer when I was public prosecutor. Is he the same N.S. Dev? Ask him. Yes.
Mr. N.S. Dev, sir, you can unmute yourself and you can come. Darwin, please unmute Mr. N.S. Dev, IRS.
N.S. Dev was an intelligence officer when I was. Was he the same? Is he the same N.S. Dev or anyone else? Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'll answer this question.
He mentioned as IRS.
Sir, Vanakkam, sir. Same person, sir.
Same person. How are you?
I am fine, sir.
Unmute your video also, sir. Please unmute your video also.
Sure, sir.
Camera. You can switch on your camera also, sir.
I cannot forget those officers like N.S. Dev.
Sir, Vanakkam, sir.
Who were yes, N.S. Dev.
Sir, illa, sir. It's a pleasure and privilege to be listening to your discourse. Now you have been elevated as a judge. I was been listening from you when you were the prosecutor for NCB. The question is not regarding a statement of accused. I am asking you to throw light on statement of witness post Tofan Singh judgment, sir. That is an academic interest.
Very nice. Tofan Singh judgment made this statement inadmissible. But under Section 67, a statement given to our customs officer by a witness is not a substantive piece of evidence. It is not a substantive piece of evidence. That witness must get into the witness box and give evidence. While he gives evidence, his earlier statement will be used as a corroborative statement under the Indian Evidence Act. It used to be like that. thing. But there is one exception in the NDPS Act which speaks about 53 capital A, I think. I think I used this statement in one drug case in Madurai when I was public prosecutor. 53 capital A, yes, correct. I got it. 53 capital A states that a statement of a witness can be used as a substantive evidence with the permission of the court in a certain given circumstance. For example, in Madurai, I remember that was the case of a customs officer who was herself indulging in narcotic trade. I remember that was about 2000, I think, when I was a special public prosecutor. In that case, what happened was the main witness turned hostile. When the main witness turned hostile, I used section 53A to get his earlier statement of section 67 admissible and proved the case. And the conviction was confirmed by the conviction by the trial court was confirmed by the High Court as well as the Supreme Court. So this was the only occasion under which I had used 53 capital A in respect of a statement of witness where it was elevated from an ordinary previous statement to substantive evidence. I hope Dev, you are able to recollect. I don't know whether you were there when I was doing that case in Madurai. Yes, Dev. Are you satisfied?
Sir, you can unmute and you can.
Yes, Dev, are you satisfied?
Sir, you can unmute and you can talk.
Sir, I unmuted myself. I think that was one case where we broke 164 statement also, sir, if I remember correctly, of the same witness. Because that footnote of specified under 164 was not present in this statement recorded by the magistrate. Because that was the first lesson you taught me, how to go about breaking statement of people who turn hostile later in proceedings. Great, sir.
Thank you. At least you remember the teacher, the teacher in me.
Can't forget, sir. Gladys Lilly and Paul Swami case, sir. That was that case.
Correct. After 20 years. After 20 years. Correct. Yes,
sir.
Thank you so much, sir, because this platform is going to be academic sharing, more than academic sharing, legal interpretation, jurisprudential evaluation sharing. Thank you so much, Dev, sir, for joining and deliberating this thing. And the next question is from Ratnakumar J. His question is that, sir, if a person being a psychologically disordered person and if he is prescribed by doctor for having any drug, and during his course of travel, if it have been checked by the customs officer, whether this NDPS Act will apply?
This Act permits medical use of drugs. Don't think that medical use of drugs have been banned by this Act. No, medicinal. See, there are several drugs which comes within the ambit of NDPS Act as well as medicinal. Example, I tell you one classic example. Today also, you go to the treasury. You go to the treasury in any of the treasury in Tamil Nadu. You go. There will be a board. Piradi Budankazhamai Abin Valangapadum. Piradi Budankazhamai on asthma noyaligalukku Abin Valangapadum. It will be there. Abin is opium thing. So the government will give opium to asthma to licensed with the approval of the medical practitioner. Tahsildar will give permission to obtain small quantities of abin for their thing, because I told you earlier, I think in my speech I told you that this opium has got medicinal value. Opium's medicinal value is for asthma people. Asthma people, acute asthma people, they will not. They will be wheezing. So you give them some opium, they will sleep peacefully, and then the asthma will go. So medicinal, where somebody is carrying a medical prescribed drug, he will not be brought under the ambit of this NDPS.
Thank you, Lordship. So another question is from Mr. Ramachandran. He asked about the legalization of cannabis in US, particularly in Colorado. So prohibition of the usage of cannabis continue in India, or will there be any relaxation in future?
See, as a judge, I cannot comment on this because the policy decision of the government, no. See, how can I say that? I am not in the administration. Whether tomorrow, see, during Rajaji's time, Ivera Periyar, Rajaji, all of them ensured that prohibition was strictly in 1935 Prohibition Act, 1939 Prohibition Act was introduced by Rajaji because Ivera Periyar wanted to abolish everything, and they were all together. They did it, but over a period of time, government is running Tasmac shop. No, so I can't say what tomorrow if government runs cannabis shop. What can I do? I mean, what can we do? We judges have no role in that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Lordship. So, some person is asking for recommending a book for understanding the historical and current involvement of drugs in Afghanistan during USSR era.
See, recommending a book, is it? There are a lot of books are there. The assassination of Benazir Bhutto. I read the book Benazir Bhutto, the way she was assassinated. In that book also there was a lot of reference to this. See, Afghanistan, there's a serious problem. Afghanistan warlords, they thrive on opium. And US, what they will do is they will bomb that area and they'll destroy the crop. This will keep going on. But I don't know that. I don't know. I mean, I don't know any book in the present trend. Of course, today you go to Google and you search, you get all the recent things. Whatever you want is available in the internet or recent thing internet. But I don't have any book. This, if you want to know the old thing, what I given to Dr. Vijay Lakshmi will throw light on Afghanistan, India, China, those areas. It will throw some light. But current, I really do not know. Sorry.
Thank you, Lordship. So again, I'm stating in the words of a Lordship, the material is with us. Whoever really interested, please send a request mail to our program mail ID, and to that person we will send individually. Individual copies will be sent to them, those who are requesting for that. Hope that we can come to an end, because it is more than 1.5 hours. We can't retain a Lordship furthermore. If there is any doubts, please send a mail to us. We will forward to our Lordship and we will get the clarification and mail it to you. So instead of going over here, thank you, Lordship. Now over to Senthil sir for the further course of actions.
Thank you, Lordship, for enlightening us on progressive development of drug laws in India. Now, I welcome Dr. S. Rajalakshmi, Head of the Department, Criminal Law and Criminal Justice Administration, to extend a formal vote of thanks to our chief guest, dignitaries, and the audience. Over to Dr. S. Rajalakshmi, ma'am.
I'm audible, sir?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. You are audible.
Thank you so much, sir. The International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking is observed this day, 26th June, every year, with the aim to create awareness about issues related to drugs and strengthening action and cooperation in order to make the world free of drug abuse. Across the world, many individuals, organizations, and communities come together every year on this International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking to inform people about the problems faced by society due to illegal drugs. The Tamil Nadu Dr. Ambedkar Law University is honored in organizing national webinar on the event of International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. Let us be grateful to the people who make us happy. They are the charming gardeners who make our souls blossom. I'm really gratified for giving me a chance to deliver vote of thanks to such a honorable audience. It was really a great time with you. First of all, I'm thankful to Almighty for giving us courage and spirit to arrange the glorified event. This blessing has turned this event into grand success. My heart fills with lots of gratitude and respect for Honorable Thiru Justice P.N. Prakash sir, Judge Madras High Court, for not only sparing his precious time for us to grace this occasion, but also for enlightening us with a commendable talk on the subject. Such a wonderful lecture, His Lordship. You are a sea of knowledge. We really need people like you for sowing seeds of highest ethical standards and reawakening of legal professionals as upholders of right of people and democracy. Highest regards for such a wonderful lecture for a person who made so many wonders from courtroom. Lordship, you truly make this day full of knowledge for us. Your deep and intellectual way of imparting knowledge has added the glory of this national webinar. Thank you, Lordship, for being such an inspiration. My gratitude to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. N.S. Santosh Kumar sir, the man of distinct vision and a fountainhead of illuminating ideas, an ideal of knowledge and experience, an inspiration to all of us. Our dynamic Vice Chancellor, sir, has given complete academic freedom for both faculties and students in organizing webinars, workshops, training programs to benefit students and faculty across the world. Sir, your motivation and kindness are a few traits that make you the great leader that you are today. Thank you, Vice Chancellor, sir, for your support in our entire endeavor. My sincere thanks to Professor V. Balaji, sir, Registrar the Tamil Nadu Dr. Ambedkar Law University, who has always been at the forefront of every activity at the university. Sir, thanks a lot for giving a precious time in your busy schedule. It really means a lot to us. You have surely added to the charm of this event. Thank you, sir, for taking a keen interest in the program and delivering the felicitation address. My sincere thanks to you, sir. I sincerely express my gratitude to Dr. R. Srinivasan, sir, Controller of Examination, Dr. Harita Devi, Madam, Director, Research, Publication, Academic Affairs, Dr. Kumudaratna, Madam, Director, PG Studies, for your kindness and continued support to make this event up to the mark. I would like to take this opportunity to place on record our sincere thanks to the heads of all the departments and faculty members of Tamil Nadu Dr. Ambedkar Law University, the principals and faculty members of all the government law colleges of Tamil Nadu, the legal luminaries from all over India for encouraging us with a humble presence and good wishes, and also providing a huge support by enabling the participation of the students in the national webinar. I would also like to express my gratitude to the entire learned advocate for taking time to attend the national webinar. Thank you all. My heart goes out to thank the wonderful participations for accepting the invitation and attending the national webinar. Without your kind presence, we could not have accomplished what we have dreamt for. Thank you for your interactive participation, patience, and cooperation. The strength of the team is each individual member. The strength of each member is the team. Conducting this program would have been impossible without the passionate efforts of our organizing team. Convener Dr. A. Vijayalakshmi Madam, co-convener Dr. A. Sendil Kumar Sir. Thanks for a wonderful and stimulating national webinar, and thank you for your generosity in organizing the national webinar. Thank you, organizing committee. My special appreciation to Ms. Deepa Krishna Jairaj, our beloved student coordinator. Thanks for being so dedicated and hardworking. Thank you, dear. Events like this cannot happen overnight. The wheel started rolling weeks ago. It requires planning and a bird's eye for details. Let us not forget the backbone of this program, the technical staff and the administrative staff members who went an extra mile. Thank you so much, Dr. S.K. Ashok Kumar sir and Mr. A. J. Darwin sir, for all your support and patience. Live as if you were to die tomorrow. Learn as if you were to live forever. Thank you all for gracing the occasion by your valuable presence. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Thank you all. I hand over the virtual stage to Dr. A. Sendil Kumar sir. Thank you all.
May I intervene?
Yes, Lordship, please, Lordship.
No. I just want. I think Dr. Maria Clattis, the special judge for NDPS Act, is somewhere in the screen.
Yes, Lordship, I saw her.
Is there?
Shall we invite her to share
Yes,
something?
No. What you do is you can fix with her and take your students in batches after the corona, after physical hearing of court resumes. Okay. You can have a discussion with Maria Clattis and take your students in batches to the special court for NDPS cases for them to watch a trial, how the trial goes on, so that they get a hands-on experience. I mean, that's all. That's my only. I mean, if it is possible, discuss with your higher-ups and then you do.
Definitely, because we used to, Lordship, before the lockdown, as from the part of subject matter, we send the students for 1 week observation to the NDPS court. Due to lockdown, it is not happened. Thank you so much, madam, for joining with us today. And you can unmute and you can share your thoughts, madam.
Thank you. Thank you for this recognition. And as Lordship has already directed, we go by whatever Lordship has to say. And so all of you are definitely welcome. And I shall facilitate as much as possible the observation and the sharing of knowledge. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, madam. Thank you. Thank you. So we had Professor Kailveri madam also along with us, Gauri Ramesh madam along with us, and senior most advocates like Adilakshmi Lagmurthy madam. Thank you, ma'am, for every one of us showing interest and joining with us. Thank you. As said by our faculty madam Rajalakshmi madam, without all your participants, this would not have happened today. So thank you so much. Now I leave to Sendil Kumar sir.
Okay.
Also, we should thank NS Dev sir for participating here. On behalf of Tamil Nadu Dr. Ambedkar Law University, thank you, sir, for being here. A lot of more programs are going to come on behalf of the Tamil Nadu Dr. Ambedkar Law University, which will be more beneficial not only to the students, also to the fraternity of law all over the world. Thank you, all of you. We'll meet in another session as earlier as possible. Thank you, Lordship.
Thank you, Lordship.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lordship. So all of you stay safe and please make others also to stay safe. Thank you all. You will be get the certificates once you submit your